the Influence 717 all the way here in Manhattan with our man Justin. Chase is here. It's an honor to be here, bro. How you doing, Justin? Talk to us.
I'm good, man. Very good. Here on the weekend, which is a rare occasion. So.
Crazy. It's
For
crazy.
you guys.
Bro, it's an honor to be here. Like the store, the aesthetics, the vibe. And I know you didn't start here, so just, give our viewers, give the people a little bit of the backstory. How you got started, how we're here.
Goes back to 2002. So I started actually in high school. Started getting shoes. In the middle of my school day, I'd get shoes early from Sneaker Villa, bring them back to school and sell them early to kids.
Damn.
So I went from there. I went to eBay. Did eBay for maybe like 10 years. I was still working normal jobs. I was working in restaurants and retail jobs and everything like that. Took 5 years off after high school, went to college. Started college 2009. By the first semester, I think in 2011, my professor actually owned a store called the Inside Track. Very different than what I carry here, but a very similar concept. So I picked his brain, stayed after class, took a marketing class, took a business management class, e-commerce class. E-commerce class really hit home, and it gave me the confidence I needed to get started and create my own business.
Damn.
So I started online with the heatcheck.com 2011, late 2011. 2012, it really picked up for me during like the Galaxy release, phone posits and Kobe's and LeBron's and all that. So from there, I just kind of carried the website and did that, traveled the world, buying collections off people, putting them on the website. 2015, I was kind of forced to open a store. I didn't want to open a store. I wanted to just stay online, kind of do my own thing and move around how I wanted to.
It was smooth.
But competitors started coming around. Like you had StockX, that was kind of new, but they were starting to make some traction. On top of that, Instagram was getting popular. Facebook started creating groups. It might not sound like too long ago, but for a while you didn't have groups on Facebook. If you wanted to sell something, it was just on your page.
Right.
Then you started getting sneaker groups and everything like that. So I couldn't compete with all these like younger kids that would get 2 or 3 pairs of a shoe. Where I'm sitting on 60 pairs. Let's say a shoe at this time is $170 retail. I would get the shoe and I'm trying to sell it at $275 or something, make $90, $95. These kids will get it. They can't sell it in 6 hours or a day. They're putting it up, I'll sell it for retail plus shipping.
Right.
So now I'm competing with people that have a better price for the same product.
Damn. Just so they can move it.
So brick and mortar became a reality at that time. So I opened up for our listeners in Lancaster. I was right in front of Tobias Frog, Wheatland Shopping Center, I think it was called, on Columbia Avenue. Stayed there until December of the following year.
That's where you started your company?
That's where I started. That was my first brick
and mortar.
Yeah, the brick and mortar. Yep.
Before I actually closed that, for our 1 year anniversary, we opened a store in the biggest mall in the world, which is Mall of America.
That's crazy.
So went over there, Minnesota, going back and forth. So doing that, with doing that, Lancaster kind of got put on the back burner a little bit. We ended up having a break-in December of 2016. And for me, it was like a blessing in disguise. Like, that break-in allowed us to get out of our lease. We had a landlord that we signed a 3-year lease with. Break-in happened. We weren't making much money there.
Right.
Locals just kind of, it wasn't their
There was
thing
no
at that
growth
time.
in your actual company.
Yeah, so it was tough. Most of my people that would be buying like the higher-end shoes
Right.
was all online anyway. So it was like, went out to Mall of America, and we closed down the Wheatland Shopping Center store like that December after the break-in. Turned out, like I said, it was a blessing because we got more money probably on insurance than what we were going to get from
Did you
selling
have
the
both
store.
stores at the time?
We did. So they did overlap for a little bit. So then we were down for, I want to say, like 4 or 5 months before we got into Park City.
Right.
So when I opened up in Park City, I was still in Mall of America. Mall of America is tough. Like, I always say to people, I told Haaj plenty of times, like, nobody will care about your business as much as you do. When you own your own business, you could have the greatest staff in the world, but they're never going to care.
Exactly. They're not going to sell. They're not going to understand how much, you have to pay, to afford a big establishment like this. So,
and it's just like, it comes down to like, when you're not there, if you're not micromanaging them, it doesn't work a lot of times.
Yeah.
So especially in a retail environment. So Mall of America, I was dealing with theft. I hired somebody from Lancaster, moved them out there, set them up, got them housing and everything like that. And a couple months later, stole $10,000 from me.
Jeez.
So that was one of the reasons why we ended up shutting down. Like, we were surprisingly, we were still profitable after that. But we couldn't get out there, and we had people taking advantage of us.
Right.
People opening the store late. We're getting fines and stuff like that.
It's crazy to think about that, because I feel like a lot of people, they don't, they see the big business, they see, all the shoes, they see all the clothes, they see how much you're making on the clothes, and they don't realize, the overhead, they don't realize the break-ins, they don't realize, how many people are actually, hurting your business more than benefiting your business.
100%.
And that's kind of like where we're at. Like, a lot of people don't understand that. So,
I think it makes Justin's story unique, because a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
If you never really talked about it much, so people from our area just think all they see is that constant success, the stores, the shoes, everything that you carry. So they're always just going to assume like everything's great. So from Mall of America, how long were you there, and how long was that going great for?
We stayed there 20 months. So we actually got to be there while the Eagles were out there in the Super Bowl. So with Mall of America, for those that don't understand, it's like a tourist mall. So there's like roller coasters, there's water rides, there's mini golf. Everything
crazy.
you can think of is there. So they don't have the high-end stores like a King of Prussia would.
Right.
But they had all this destination stuff. So Super Bowl comes out there, and it's the Eagles and the Patriots. And 2 hotels are located inside the mall. So the Eagles are staying at the Marriott, and the Patriots are staying at the Hilton, just different parts of the mall.
That's wild.
But they're
That's
coming in
awesome.
shopping. So NFL Films is in my store filming. Players are in there each day. They're there for a whole week for media week and stuff like that. So that was phenomenal. Capitalized on that, and then 2 months later, we ended up just leaving. Kind of touch on what you were just saying, like, people don't understand, like, the cost of everything and, like, the theft and everything like that. The thing that hurts the most is the internal theft.
right.
External theft, you kind of budget for it.
Yeah,
You know what to
100%.
expect
Yep.
or something like that.
Right,
Someone's
right.
going to come in, someone's going to steal a shirt, somebody's going to steal something small. It's worse when it's somebody that you're employing and somebody that you're
trusting.
kind of going,
Yep.
not just trusting, but going above and beyond for.
Yep.
Like, I usually try to befriend everybody that works for me.
And you're giving
I
them
might
a
not-
job. You're giving them a
Exactly.
job and making it happen and giving
Treating
them
them fair,
and
make
treating
sure
them
they're
fair.
making
Yep.
money.
And you guys know how it is. Like, you guys are buying your staff pizza and bringing in food. I mean, I see it on your Instagram
Yeah,
stuff all
stuff
the
on
time.
their birthdays.
You
Yep.
guys do stuff all the time, and it's like you're showing your appreciation. And I do it to the same extent and in different ways and stuff like that. And I still had staff at every single store steal from me. And it's more personal because they know where I'm coming from. They know I got a family to feed.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't have a 9 to 5. I'm not getting a paycheck from here. Like,
Right.
this is all I have.
Right,
So it's like
100%.
that's where it hurts the most. So Mall of America closed down due to the internal theft. And then
You would say that's your number one reason on why you kind of closed that store, just because of the debt,
that and
theft. Yeah. Yep.
that and the manager, the second to last manager I had there was a female. And I don't want to give her any credit here, but I'll name drop her brand here. So she worked at my store for maybe 6 months or
Right.
something. Figured out my blueprint, figured out what sells, where I'm getting stuff from, and everything like that. She did a deal with the mall, and she opened up a store right around the corner from me. Our store is called the Heat Check Fresh Boutique. She opens a store called Third Degree Heat. So I had 2 heat
Jeez.
checks. So she calls it Third Degree
That's
Heat, which is like a
crazy.
third heat check, basically piggybacking.
I
off
never
of.
knew that.
What?
It's wild.
So-
I never knew that.
So doing that, I mean, this was a girl, like a trust fund baby.
Yeah,
like
that you
her-
trust. Yep.
She got parents feeding her money and stuff like that. So
Yep.
now, not only am I competing with staff stealing from me, now I have a competitor right around the corner from me that
That knows your
sells
whole
That
the
business.
knows
same
your
stuff I'm
prices, that knows
selling.
your business, so she's gonna undercut there, have the
Exactly.
same shoes, and of course somebody's gonna, walk into your store, look at
Yep.
the prices, and then go over there.
But
Yep,
also
and her
think
store is bigger.
but also think that they're affiliated.
Yeah.
Just
Yep.
assuming
They're affiliated. Yep.
Exactly.
Especially
And
if they see
use that
her.
too.
Wow.
Especially they see her,
So-
she sold them,
Bro,
Especially
it
if she
was
looks
the
a little
worst.
pretty, they're gonna want to go back over
So
there.
what was that conversation like? Did you
It
ever have
was-
a conversation?
Yeah, so she gave us a 2-week notice, or actually a 3-week notice. So it was like somewhat courteous. She was like, "Hey, like I'm gonna follow my own dreams and I'm gonna open my own store." I'm like, "Oh, cool, you got my blessing." She was like, "Oh, it's gonna be around the corner." I'm like, "Come on, like
See,
seriously?"
yeah,
So anyway, like I tried to overlook it. Like even during Super Bowl, like I was sitting in a lobby. I was at a bar or something where the Eagles players
Right.
were out that day, and she like came over and was like, "Oh, let me buy you a drink." Like she tried to keep it cordial and everything like that, but she didn't realize what she was doing. Again, she doesn't have to feel. She don't have to go through the grind that I'm going through. Like, I'm
100%.
flying out every 2 weeks. Not
Yep.
only am I paying for the flights, I got to pay for hotels.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I got to get in there and work. Like if I got to fire somebody or if my staff's not doing
Yep.
what they got to do, I'm working. So again, she has money coming from somewhere. So if she's not doing well or someone's stealing from her, it's not impacting her.
exactly.
It's
Right.
coming from
Right, it's not
above.
personal.
So like those were the two reasons there, because we weren't really losing money. Like we were, if I had to look back on it, we probably made money at that store. The rent wasn't as crazy as what you would think, but the store was so small. Like what you guys see here, this is 4,000 square feet just on the sales floor. We got another 4,000 downstairs. So like
Right.
my store at Mall of America, I think was 780.
Right.
So I
Square
could fit
foot.
like 250 shoes in the back, if that. If I'm lucky, 250,
Jeez.
and that's a lot of kids pairs.
Yeah.
So it's like every week I got to keep sending stuff
Right.
out from the Lancaster store to fulfill that. So anyway, we closed that down, and by that time I'm ready in Park City. So we got Park City, Boscov's Wing, and then another roadblock comes up. We had a good location. We're kind of where our target market is. And with the malls, if you sign a temporary lease, at any time, if another company wants to come in there and they sign a permanent lease for your space, they bump you. So the
They
mall's
bump
like,
you
hey,
up.
you have 30 days to relocate or leave, basically. So I was like, all right, what's my options? And they gave me an option of, I forget the one location. The one location was like an old pedicure spot somewhere over by where TGI Fridays was.
Right.
Right.
Next location was the East Shops where I ended up. Another
Yeah.
dead wing. I got the back end of Forever 21
Uh-huh.
next to a pedicure spot. And then I don't think there's anything else in the entire wing. So we opened up there, and surprisingly enough, like we built what needed to be built, and people knew we were there, and they came and they fucked with us there. But
And that's the Heat Check, right?
that's
That's in
the
Park
heat check.
City Mall. So if a lot of people don't know, he owns the Heat Check. Everybody always, talks about it,
Yep.
especially the young kids. Everybody knows it's where they get the nice kicks, nice clothes.
Nah,
so
for sure.
And this is all pre-Legacy days. So Heat Check, it was Heat Check Fresh Boutique. So I always had a partner there, Dre. So we kind of created 2 stores under one roof,
Right.
basically thing. So we operated separately, but collectively at the same time. So kind of like what you see here, where you see all the clothing, sneakers above the clothing and stuff like that. So me and Dre kind of operated the same way, but he was in charge of the clothing, I was in charge
Right.
of sneakers. So we rocked out there. COVID happens. We're shut down from March until July of 2020. We reopened in July, and we have the best month ever in any of my businesses at that time. In-store, online, anything. Had a crazy July. August rolls around, and King of Pressure's been trying to get me for about 5 years.
right. So you weren't
they're
in
coming
you weren't in KOP at the time. You just
No.
got
Just
out
all
of
I have
the other store. All you
just
have
one
is the Heat Check.
Yep, just
Okay.
Heat Check, because Mall of America's closed now
Yep.
at this point.
Yep. And then
So-
that was right after. So July would be after COVID.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
as soon as you
that's
opened
once
up,
things
July, you had the busiest month.
Yep. And then August comes around, and my people from King of Prussia come and reach out again. And I'm like, it never made sense. For the 5 years they were trying to get me, every time we talked numbers, it did not make sense. I was
Right.
like, there's no way I can go in here
Yeah.
and pay this amount of money.
Yeah.
Yep.
So COVID happens. They're starting to lose tenants, and some people just don't want to reopen with COVID.
Right.
So they show us a space. It used to be a restaurant. We go in there, and I'm like, I desperately want to get in the mall at this time because I know what the money's looking like.
Yeah,
for sure.
Uh-huh.
So I was ready to take that. My partner, Paneet, now we're talking about Legacy. So now one
That's
of
a
my
whole
best
nother
friends that I
partner.
met
Yep.
through sneakers, he wanted to open up together with me. So we wanted to come up with something different. We didn't want to piggyback off of
Right.
Heat Check. So we're talking to KOP. He didn't want to do the space. I kind of did. We fell back on it. Another month passes by, I think, a couple weeks, and then they come back to us with a better location. We're like right in front of Champs. Store is pretty much done.
That store is insane.
Not
Yeah.
much work to do. So we take it. The deal was favorable for us, and we take it. I think we take maybe a month or 6 weeks to kind of like get the store up and ready.
Was that hard getting the store up and running? Making sure all the racks are up, making sure
Hiring a whole
you
new staff.
hired a whole new staff. Would you say that was a challenge trying to get the store up and running? Because a lot of people.
Because I was used to it already.
Yeah,
Is,
with the Heat Check.
Even like when I have to relocate the Heat Check, it's almost like a whole new store
Right.
because it's like a
Right.
whole new build
Right.
out.
Right.
So we went in there with the idea of what we wanted to do. It wasn't much, but it took 4 to 6 weeks to get up and running. We opened up that store, I think, with like 4 or 5 employees, and we pulled Alex over. He was at Foot Locker at this time, 16 years.
Right.
He worked in Lancaster, worked in Philly, worked in KOP, Accent, all over the place. So we got him, brought on his experience. So we started with like 4 or 5 people. We don't know what to expect. First day we opened our doors. 30 minutes later, we got like 75 people in our store. With little
that's
to
a
no
dream.
promotion.
That's a
First door,
dream.
First day.
Yeah.
That's a dream.
First day.
Were you there?
Yeah.
So
I
you're
was there
visualizing
the whole
everything.
day. So at this time, we don't know what to expect. So it's like me, my partner, my wife was there. I think had some of my friends there. So I had people like there, kind of
supporting you and stuff, keeping
but
their
it's
eyes
like
out.
now, like after that first day, I want to say, I don't usually talk numbers too much, like on camera and stuff. But I think the first day we did like $21,000. And that's with us trying to figure out a whole new POS system, new staff,
The
shoes in
hurdles,
different
the
locations,
bumps.
stuff like that.
Nah, for sure.
And our store was so empty when we opened up. Like, I mean, what you see now is kind of what KOP looked like before we closed it.
Right.
So we had a phenomenal day there. Finished out the year, and I ain't gonna talk the numbers. So we finished out the year good, right?
Right, good year.
So that was 3 months. So after those 3 months, we get into 2021. I have heat check still in Lancaster. That's kind of operating by itself.
Right.
It's slower. 1 or 2 people work a day there. Legacy, we just kind of learn and grow day by day. Just keep growing it. We had so many consigners that were making a lot of money with us. So 2021 was the best year I've ever had in business, like just collectively. Like we had days there that was just
Insane.
numbers were insane. So
I can imagine.
What would you say though? Because a lot of people they hear the numbers, but they don't understand how much it costs to actually run the business. How much it costs to stock your shelves up. You constantly got to have inventory. We went downstairs and we seen all that inventory, and it still blows my mind because it's like how much inventory without giving without giving the exact numbers. How much would you say, if you feel comfortable, telling us, what it costs you to, stock your store comfortably?
Now we're in a unique situation because we do a lot of consignment as well. So we can't and we won't take all the credit for like saying, hey, everything in here is ours.
Right.
It's not.
Right.
We have in this store, we have $500,000 in here in inventory alone.
Right.
And that's not even.
That's crazy.
I mean, I don't have to hide this number. The number was seen like when we released our press statement when we opened the store. We're paying over 6 figures a month here. So over $100,000 a month.
You pay what?
Over $100,000.
$100,000
a month
to be in here.
So just a month.
Holy moly!
So now,
How you go to sleep at night?
now I don't
What
sleep
do you
well,
think?
I'll tell
What do you
that.
think
I
about
wouldn't-
when you hit your pillow?
Yeah.
$100,000.
$100,000
And the
a
thing is
month.
that you got to think then you got payroll on top of it. Our payroll is about half of that cost.
Right.
Jeez.
So a big store like this, we get a lot of tourists and stuff
Right.
like that. So it's like we have no choice but to staff it up. So at all times, we usually have 10 to 15 people working here.
And no
Minimum
matter
wage in New York is a lot more than what it is back.
no matter
in
if they're
PA.
selling, no matter if they're slow, no matter if you're busy, you still have to have them.
And there's laws in New York, like even if it's slow, like today it's kind of slow here. I can't go over to one of my staff members and say, hey, it's slow. Go home
have to
today.
keep them here.
It's illegal in New York.
Jeez.
You cannot send
That's
somebody
insane.
home. If
That's
they
insane. I
want
never
to,
knew
if they
that.
say, hey, like if you want, I'll
Yeah.
go home, then we
Right.
could do it. But like you cannot change a schedule within 48 or 72 hours, I believe, and you can't cut somebody early.
As
if
the
they don't want-
employer.
Right.
Yeah. So
That's crazy.
And a lot of
But-
people don't know that. Like I feel like a lot of people, they want to
I never
start
knew that.
businesses,
Yeah.
and they see like money, but they don't realize, everything that you have to deal with,
And that's
all them laws and everything you
And
got
that's
to do.
that's the biggest thing about what we're trying to do is like showcase what it takes, because we know so many young guys. I want to sell sneakers. I want to sell clothes. I want to sell sneakers. I want to sell clothes. And it's like, I encourage them to go to the big dogs and like ask these questions.
Yep.
They don't know that. Everybody sees, oh, this big store, Manhattan, Empire State Building, it's going to go phenomenal. They don't know the hurdles that are going to come. They don't know the roadblocks that are going to come. So like, what would be some of the biggest things that you would say to the young guy coming up behind you that wants to do the exact same thing?
Do your homework. Like you said, ask questions. Sometimes shit ain't sweet. Like this looks beautiful. Like the
Yeah.
location is
It's
phenomenal.
gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
I told you guys off camera already. Like I haven't made $1 here yet. I'm
Right.
coming up. I'm 2 months away from being here for a year.
Right.
I've lost money. Like I still believe in the business. I do
Yeah.
believe it's gonna turn around. Like it just sometimes in this business the economy's up and down. So sometimes you gotta buy time.
Right.
And that's not something you can literally do financially. You need time to like be here. So sometimes you gotta take that loss and just wait for things to recover. Like
For sure.
I was just saying earlier, like COVID time was fool's gold. We did crazy numbers there. I mean,
Right.
you guys seen the things that I was buying at that time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was gonna drop off like it did.
Right.
And I didn't expect to lose King of Prussia.
Did you anticipate it slowing down the hair though?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
I expected it to probably slow down 50%. But even
Right.
at 50%, like we still would have been way good. If we would have been in King of Prussia, like we probably would have never opened this. We wouldn't have got ready to open American Dream. Like we're
Right.
a couple months away from that. Lancaster, like I've been spending a lot of time in there trying to just make sure I'm keeping that functional. But it is tough because it's like you never know how the economy is going to go. I've done
Right.
it, like I said, 21 years now.
Yeah.
Whether it's online or in store, like I've seen ups and downs. It's like you got to just kind of adapt with the times. Like you look around, you see all these clothing brands here. Like if you would have came in here like 5 years ago, you wouldn't have seen none of these brands.
Right.
None of these brands were popular 5 years ago, and some of them weren't even around. Like you think of like Hellstar.
Yeah, you gotta
that
stay
blew
fresh.
up in like the last
You gotta
year.
stay
Like,
fresh. You gotta do your
Essentials or
research.
whatever,
You gotta
that's
make
like
sure
3 years.
you're riding the wave and getting, you know, all the inventory in store that people want.
Yeah,
For sure.
So
I think
good.
I think it's so important for people to understand that and hear that, because a lot of times in business, people they don't stay in it. They don't ride the waves. They don't buy the time.
Yep.
They just see that it's not working or temporarily, and it's like they want to quit.
Yep.
So I think that's a big important piece for people to realize.
That's why
like,
I commend you a lot, just because of that. Like, you know, we were sitting over there talking, and it's like, we'll touch on this store a little bit, but you know, you never know how good that store is gonna do unless you get in it. So in your mind, if you would have never got, you know, to this moment, you would have never knew the numbers. Now that you know the numbers, and now that you know how things are going, then you can step back and, you know, open up multiple locations in other places. Because Legacy, you know, that's a big brand. You know, everybody knows what Legacy is.
For sure.
You know,
No, 100%.
especially the King of Pressure Mall. Like, we've seen athletes in there, especially they're so close to Philly.
Yeah.
You've seen rappers.
Yep.
What how many celebrities have you said you've seen in your stores total? In the course of being
easily
open.
over 100, and it depends on how you want to put them.
Classify
like, somebody
celebrity.
like a local rapper that has a million followers on Instagram, or like somebody that's like a movie star, or like NBA player. We're 3 blocks away from MSG, so whenever someone's playing the Knicks, we're getting a visiting team. Like 1 or 2 players are coming here almost every day,
trying to buy an outfit, trying to buy some shoes,
rappers and stuff all the time. I mean, you're getting
crazy.
actors, actresses, and stuff.
Right.
And there's people that come in here, and like, I'm glad that we have such an extensive staff, because it's like people will come in here, I have no idea who they are. And like, so we had somebody from The Sopranos in here the other day.
That's
I
crazy.
watched that back in the day. But
Yeah.
they're like, oh, this is so and so from The Sopranos. So like,
Yeah.
you
You don't realize it.
Like that. So
Does
it's
that
like,
make you feel good though?
No,
like,
it's a blessing. It's truly a blessing.
especially from where you came from, you know, to like looking at this. Like, I come in here like, wow, like this is amazing. Like, you know, this is like a corporate business. Like, in my head, when I first come in here, I'm gonna think that there's like multiple locations of Legacy all over the world, because of how you built your brand and how, you know, good everything looks.
It's been around, you know, and you've been putting that time in. A lot of people won't ever assume that something like this was built from an eBay store. Like nobody would ever think that. And I think that's what's so important about, you know, business owners being versatile and being transparent with people, just because it's like, it's so motivational to the youth. Because now people can see your model, and even if they can't duplicate it to the T, it's like, it's going to make them believe in themselves.
Yeah, you know it can happen.
You know you can make it happen.
And it's one thing, like, you always hear people say, oh, I don't live with regrets. Like, I always kind of like learn from, like, I feel that, like, especially from a business sense, like, coming in here, like I was saying earlier, like, I don't like New York.
Right.
Anyone that's watching this, like, I hate New York. I hate how the traffic. I hate the people. Like, I hate how dirty it is. Like, I hate,
it's different from what you're used to. Yeah, it's different from what you're used to.
It's way too much sometimes. So it's like,
move your mic
this
a little
opportunity
closer.
got presented to us, and they're like, hey, here's the opportunity for a flagship store. You hear that word, you're like, flagship store, and it's like, wow, like, they're looking at us like that. So
It's that name. Legacy's like, when I hear Legacy, I think of like.
So me and my partners talked, and it was kind of like, we don't really want to rush into something like this, especially because we saw the economy kind of turning down, going into it. But again, it was like, if we did not do it, we're going to look back next year, 5 years, whatever, and we're always going to say, what if?
Yeah, what if?
So, like, I'm able to live with myself if, and hopefully I can get rid of the word if, and it doesn't happen.
Right.
But if this ever has to close down because we just can't financially make it here, then it's like, I'm not going to live with that regret, because I'm going to take that to American Dream. I'm going to take that to, if there's another location, I'm going to say, you know what? I got to negotiate better on a lease terms. I need to go in there with a better plan and say, okay, this is what we could afford to pay all in, and this is what we need to bring in, because it's tough. Like, that always changes. Your margins change. Like, consignment is consignment, but like what you have is like store-owned inventory. Like, your margins fluctuate.
Right.
And there's times, like, I walked around a store today. Like, I wasn't here for over a month. I walked around a store and I see a lot of inventory here where I'm like, okay, you're sitting right next to Mitchell & Ness right now. We're going into fall, winter. I'm not going to sell many jerseys and shorts. So now I got to like liquidate that to kind of get it out. I can bring it back next year. But for kind of what you were saying about like the expenses, like, I could easily box all that stuff up and throw downstairs and say, oh, I'll bring it back out next spring. But now that's, what's that, $10,000 sitting right there that I'm just throwing in a box. Like, I'd rather try to like sell it, recoup our cost at least, put that money into the next thing that's gonna sell.
It's crazy to think like that one rack over there is $10,000.
Yeah.
You know, and people don't realize that. You know, coming into this, you know, they don't realize, you know, how much this costs, and that's why your prices are the way they are. Like a lot of people, you know, from our area, they always look at the heat check. You know, the prices are a little bit, you know, a lot of, you know, their money. It's expensive, but you know. Then knowing and talking to you on why, you know, this is the price.
Because your average person is not going to know that and understand in their mind, like, there's a price to pay. And Dre taught me this. There's a price to pay to be able to try it on, to be able to feel it, to be able to test your size out, to be able to look in the mirror, to put it on with the outfit you got on, the sneakers you got on. Like, you got to pay for that.
Yeah.
You know?
All this stuff is exclusive here. You can't just go on footlocker.com. You just can't go on and just get it.
Grab it.
So if you want
out.
it, you know, and you know you're going out for a date night, you're going to the club, you want to walk in, look fresh, you're going to have to pay.
And that's like our customer base, like back home in Lancaster at the Heat Check, is we get a lot, like, let me put it this way, we don't cater to sneakerheads. Like, as crazy as that sounds, because we're a sneaker store, we can't cater to sneakerheads. Sneakerheads, they're going to they pull their phone out right away. Oh, this is how much it is on StockX.
Right.
We can't, excuse me, we won't ever be able to compete with StockX or GOAT.
Right.
We can't. They have the cheapest prices in the world.
Yep.
And it ties back to what I was saying before with like the Facebook groups. Imagine somebody that has just like a regular part-time job or full-time job and they're just reselling sneakers like on the side. They go out and they buy, like today, the Jordan 4 red cement came out, $210. So they go out and buy that shoe, $210. If they don't sell that by Monday, they need to get that money back.
Right.
Like they might have bills coming up.
Yep.
So something like that, they'll put it on StockX now at $215, $220 or something.
Because they don't have no bills. They don't have the overhead. So they can make a little $40 and you know, keep it pushing and buy the next shoe. Then to you, you know, you got a lot of overhead. You know, you got lights to play, you got employees to, you know, pay. So you have to, you know, make that money back on whatever you're buying.
But we also, at the same time, I understand the customer's perspective. Like, they're coming in, they're trying to get it for the best price possible. So now what we offer, and we always explain this side to the customers, so what we offer, you could check the shoe out right now, you could try it on, you can make sure it's real. That's another thing. All these websites and stuff, you never know what you're going to get. It might have a scuff, might not be real, might not fit you. These shoes fit different. Adidas is different than Nike. A Dunk's different than a Jordan.
Right.
So like now you have the time, you come in here with your outfit, you can match it up, make sure it fits, you make sure it's real, and you can walk out. So right there, you're paying for that convenience. The
100%.
right there's your convenience.
Yep.
So I don't really like to put it on the customer. It's not the customer's problem that I have this overhead. It's not their problem that I have these employees and this much rent. But we try to explain to them, like, this is why the prices are what they are. But, like, for example, here, we get no locals here. Like, locals all go to Soho. They go to the Flight Club, Stadium Goods, and all the sneaker stores in that area. We're over in an area where locals don't like to come. Like, they don't like to come to Midtown. They don't like to go to Times Square and stuff like that. It's too overpopulated.
Right.
There's no reason for them to be here.
Right.
All of our customers are tourists here. We're in front of Empire State Building. So you get tourists and families. Like, even if you just look around right now, like, no one comes in here by themselves. Like, everyone is here is like a family.
With somebody.
So that kind of ties into why we need so much staff, because you might have a dad that's shopping, but now he's with a wife and 3 kids. So that's 5 people we got to keep eyes on. But again, here, and even at Mall of America, we want to create an experience for you. We want you to come in here, like, the camera's not going to catch it right now. Maybe you guys shoot some B-roll later. But right in front of me we got a spa here. We got threading, facials, waxing. You go in here, like, you got a mom that's coming here with her kids, and her kid wants to spend 30, 45 minutes in here just looking around. She can go in there and go get her eyebrows waxed or something like that. So it's an experience now. So it's just like, but even coming in here, it's like we pride ourselves like a museum. Like, we're not just a store that's going to carry just all the newest stuff.
Right.
Like, you can come in here, you got 50 different clothing brands. You got sneakers in here all the way back. We have the 1985 Jordan 1s in here, like the original 85 ones. You got the Nike mags in there, like the Back to the Futures. Like, you got Louis Vuitton shoes.
All
like,
exclusive
everything
stuff.
that you come in here, like, even if you don't buy nothing here, we want to give you a good experience from a customer standpoint and a customer service standpoint. So again, we hope people feel comfortable and confident shopping with us, like, in person, because it's like, you're not only getting the experience, but again, everything I just said about the heat check kind of plays in here too. So it's like, and tourists don't care, man. Sneakerhead or not, they buy something. We throw out probably 100 shoe boxes a week because they don't want the boxes. They're like, oh, I'll take the shoe. Just you keep the box.
Yeah, I'm the same
so
way.
it's like they're here, and
I
it's
want
like
that box.
When you're traveling as a tourist coming from Europe, they're here to shop. And they're not here to. They're not going to say, oh, I'm going to go see if another store got a better price. Like, they're here. If they see it, they'll buy it.
They're going to buy it.
So I mean, it all kind of ties in together, but kind of just touch back on what you were saying, like what advice I can give to somebody is just don't take the shortcuts. I think from your business, one thing I can touch on from what I see there, and the reason I go to you is just the aesthetics of everything. I go in there, place looks beautiful. It's never dirty. Lighting is perfect. Got dope cars coming in there. Like it's just it's a feeling that I want to be a part of.
Sure.
So it's kind of
100%.
like we want to create that here. So it's
That
just like if you're
environment.
trying to take shortcuts and just open something to say that you have your own business, your own store, like it's not gonna work. You had a lot of people open up during COVID. They just saw like the COVID money,
Right.
and they're like, oh, I'm gonna rush and just open up something. You got people opening like York Galleria, like Berkshire Mall, like these dead malls. That's like you can't do that.
You
Like,
gotta take the risk
location
you
is
gotta
more
take the
important
risk
than
to
a
make
product,
money.
in my opinion.
Yep.
Right. But you gotta pay
So-
attention though too, like he's saying, like COVID motivated a lot of the people. A lot of people that weren't motivated, but there's a lot of people that were motivated. Like, oh, I got this money, I can open up something. And they're just rushing businesses out the door. But with us and like with Justin, like really put the time into crafting a well-made business and really putting the time into to give customers an experience and to make sure that we're doing the best that we can do. And that's something, just to touch back on what you said about this store, what I love is I don't really worry about the price. Like, I buy with a purpose because it's what I want. I don't want to wait. I'm all about convenience. Like if I want this jersey, like I just want to put it on right now, or because I have plans for it tonight or plans for it tomorrow.
Yep.
So I think that's what makes your business so unique because you can't get that everywhere. I can get on StockX and order something cheaper, but I want to put them on tonight.
Even in Lancaster, like there's no stores where you can get exclusive stuff. You can't buy Supreme. You can't buy essentials. You can't buy retros. You can't buy none of that.
Right.
So that your store, you can go there and anybody could pick up that pick up that gear.
Try it on, feel it,
Try
smell
it
it,
on.
touch it.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, it is unique, and I'm still dealing with the competition. Aside from the StockX and GOAT, like I haven't stepped foot in Foot Locker, Villa, Finish Line, or it's called JD now. Like I go months without stepping foot in any of these stores. Like I don't even waste the time going there. Like before, I used to go to all these stores trying to buy the shoes and put them on my website or bring them to the store. Now I'm to the point now, like where I'm not as hungry as these other resellers, and I can honestly say that. Like I'm older now. It's like I feel like I'm more wiser, and like time is money.
Yeah,
so it's like,
100%.
instead of me spending 4 hours a day trying to go to all these different places and try to buy all these shoes from stores, I'll let the resellers get them. And then a week later, when they can't sell them for the price they want, bring them to me.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm still gonna. I'll let you make
100%.
your money. I'll let you make money, but
Couple
I know
dollars.
I'm gonna make my money on top because I have the store.
Exactly.
And it's like you need that. Like for our business, for you to really thrive, like there's not really anybody that I know that's like online only, and making it.
Right.
And again, StockX and GOAT, I look at them as like an Uber or Airbnb. Like they don't own their shoes.
Right.
They're a service. They're a platform, a middleman.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like that's all they are. And the whole concept that they created, it's fucking great.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I wish I would have came up with that.
Nah,
Like I
for
would
sure.
have.
100%.
That's insane.
Yeah.
What they're doing, it's never gonna stop. I don't think.
Right.
Like they're too big now.
For sure.
There's too much backing behind it. Like you can't lose where they're at. But it's like, for us, it's a gift and a curse. You'll get sneakerheads that come in, and chances are they won't buy something.
Right.
You'll get people that come in that like sneakers that will buy something. But like the sneakerhead kids and the resellers, they're gonna come in, they're gonna see something, they're gonna pull out their phone. And
They're
it's
gonna
like
look at it.
nowadays, like one thing that really changed from when I got into this game, people ain't collectors anymore. Like to this day, like I sold a lot of my collection. I went from 700 or 800 pairs of my personal collection that wasn't inventory to I'm probably sitting on maybe 150, 200 now. But it's like people don't collect shoes anymore. So it's like if they're buying a shoe and they're mine, they're only going to buy it if they know that they can probably wear it once and still
Right.
make money off of it.
Right.
Like sneakerhead people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like everything now is like they're looking at it from a dollar perspective, and I can't hate on it. I mean, that's just the new generation.
Do you think because you think that like, even I feel like Jordan is releasing so many shoes
Yeah.
that you think that kind of hurts too, like the releases and, just kind of like people kind of lost my train of thought.
Almost like
No,
oversaturated.
I'll give you the
Yeah.
biggest. I think the biggest answer on why like a lot of that happens where they're only looking from a monetary standpoint. You got to think about it. I'm 37 right now. I saw Michael Jordan play. I seen
Right.
LeBron's whole entire career. You got to think like an 18-year-old kid that's reselling right now. Like Michael Jordan retired like at the end with the Wizards in 2003.
Right.
Right.
An 18-year-old kid wasn't even born at that time.
Yeah.
So it's like they have no connection to MJ.
Right, at all.
So they have no connection to like Penny, Bo Jackson, Deion, a lot of the stuff that we sell. So it's just like for them, there's no
Value.
reason to collect.
Yeah,
the
for
only
sure.
people that
Right.
are like really collecting anything is just, like they're just trying to show off for Instagram.
Yeah,
They
right.
only want the rarest stuff. They only want the most hype stuff, and they
Right.
just want to show it off. But still, in the back of their mind, they know they're doing it with the intention to sell it sooner or later.
Yeah.
Where a lot of us, my partner included, we got into it as collectors first. And back then, it was frowned upon to like be a reseller. Like my partner was never visibly a reseller because his reputation was one of the biggest like collectors in the world, one of the biggest like rare Jordan collectors. And I was the one that would always get shitted on because like I'm on these sneaker forums back in the day before like social media, and I'm selling all these shoes, and they're like, "Oh, fuck you! Like, why are you selling this shit?"
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
My go-to at that time was buy 3 pairs, sell 2
Right.
of them, and then it pays for my personal pair because as a collector,
Yeah.
I want that shoe myself.
Right.
So like that's how it all started, and I just got into a point where instead of me buying 3 pairs, I was buying 10.
Right.
I sell 9, I keep 1 for myself, and then I made money now instead
Right.
of just breaking even.
To get back to the business partner, would you recommend, everybody kind of going, if they want to start a business, go in with a business partner? Was it way easier kind of, having 2 people? Or would you say if you have an idea to kind of run with it without a business partner?
I think it's very, it depends on a person.
Right.
Some people just don't work well with others. Some
Right.
people, it's not even to say they're selfish, but some people they're just bullheaded and they want to do it their way. Like
Right.
me and my partner are both alpha males. Like, I mean, even today, like I'm texting him like, yo, I don't like this. I don't like how this is set up kind of thing. And he's like, oh, it's fine. So it's just like me and him we're brothers. So
Right.
it's like, it's beyond a friendship now.
Right.
Like we're 15 years deep into literally me and him would go to All-Star Weekend every year and just
It's
buy
a married
sneakers and bring it in.
friendship,
So it's like,
literally.
man, me and him could bump
Yep.
heads, and like sometimes we'll bump heads to the point where like we're legit pissed at each other.
Yeah.
Where he'll hang up on me or I hang up
Yeah.
on him, and the
Next
next
morning,
day we're
yep.
cool. But again, not everybody has that. So
Yep.
like, let's say next week I hit you up and like, yo, let's go do this business together. And I pitch an idea to you, you like the idea, but me and you, our personalities might not mesh.
Right.
So it could get to a thing where it's just like, now we're in a business together. You got 50%, I got 50%, but I'm trying to overrule you or you're overruling me. Overruling me, and it don't work.
Right.
So it really comes down to like what your personality is, how you are in business, and then who your partner is going to be.
Have you ever dealt with them struggles with kind of, dealing with a business partner that kind of didn't agree and you guys kind of had to, sit down and figure it out? Like, is that multiple times that, you?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Both, and that goes for Dre and Panit.
They're both your business partners?
Yeah, and Panit's brother is in on this store as well. So it's me, Panit, and his brother.
He's
Champ.
on Legacy, and then Dre would be.
Dre was like, he checked Fresh Boutique. So me and Dre, we go back since 9th grade. Me and him used to walk to school together all the way back in high
That's
school.
crazy.
That's
So it's like we went
Yep.
from there into
Have the same mindset.
yeah, and Dre was always a hustler. I was a hustler, and Dre got incarcerated for a little bit, and he was trying to be proactive before he even got out. And he's reaching out to me. He was like, "Hey, man, like let's see if there's something to do. Like,
That's
where
awesome.
we gonna do it?" And we ended up shopping around, finding space and stuff. He was selling clothing out of like a tattoo shop, I believe, at that time. I'm just doing online.
That's
So
crazy.
we get a location, and it's just like you would look at me and look at Dre, and you're like, "What are these guys
Yeah,
doing?"
exactly.
They look
Yep.
nothing alike, but we had similar
Yep.
backgrounds. We both grew up in the city, went to the same school, and me and Dre, we bumped heads. I mean, when I said me and Panita are alpha males, Dre is one of the biggest alpha males I know. So it's like
sure.
if Dre don't agree with something, like it's usually a hard no for him.
Yeah.
So it's like me, like I might have to talk to him a different way than I talk to Panita.
Right.
I gotta try to rationalize with Dre and be like, hey, this is why I feel like this is
Right.
a better idea or something like that. But no, to answer your question, like I bumped heads with my business partners. I won't say all the time, but like I'm still great friends with every partner I've ever had
sure.
in any business that I had.
Uh-huh.
So I've never let the business kind of interfere with the friendship.
Do
and
you
stuff like that.
do you like? It's so easy to like, once you have an issue, you can then talk to your business partner about it, and it kind of makes you feel good having that partner there to kind of support you than you just being running this whole company by yourself.
Yeah, 100%. I think it really ties in, especially for Legacy, because at KOP it was just me and Panit as partners. So we had a good manager. His dad would come in and help out. His brother would come in and help out. But my weaknesses are Panit's strengths. Panit's weaknesses are my strengths. So it's like we're the perfect storm together.
Right.
He comes from an IT background, so anything that like building a website, doing stuff with inventory on the back end and stuff like that, that's all him. I come from a retail background, so like me coming up on the floor and like handling training or handling different things. Like I'm not a good visual merchandiser. Like our manager Alex kills it. But wherever I'm weak at, Panit picks me up. So it's just like anytime I have suggestions on something that can make his world better, he makes my world better, we can still come to each other, and it's not like we get offended with each other's opinions or anything
Right.
like that. So it's like, and again, we're that close. Like I can call him up and be like, "Yo, dickhead, like why are you doing this?"
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
He's
Yep.
not gonna be like, "Yo, fuck you, don't talk to me."
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
It's like,
You know.
we have that, like that.
Yeah,
good
you
of a
have that
friendship, so it's
relationship.
just
That's
like-
awesome.
And even like when things don't go wrong, we have the same common goal. Like we've reached the top with KOP.
Right.
like we're gonna get there again. Like this is for us. This is we're passing this down to our kids.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
This isn't something that we're just gonna just temporarily do and then just move on and go our separate ways. Like
And
this is for the long
It's
run.
crazy because I see on Instagram, watching You Are a Family Man. I see your kids all the time. You're taking your kids to Disney World, and
man.
you're traveling with your kids. How do you balance that? How do you balance, your business working with kind of, having your wife, and then just kind of balancing that out with your actual kids?
I know it has to be hard.
Yeah, it has to
We
be
do
hard.
it all the time,
I
so
was
I
gonna
know.
say you're in the same boat. So it's just like I don't want to say it comes natural, but it's kind of just like when you have a baby, like everyone's scared when you first have a baby, right? Everyone's like, oh, I don't know how I'm gonna be a parent. Like it comes natural. Like when you get into that situation, you make your sacrifices and your changes and stuff like that, and you make it happen. So I was saying earlier, last 12 to 15 years, I have not took any trip, whether it's a day trip or whether it's a week trip or anything. My laptop goes with me everywhere. And I work everywhere. Me and my wife took our dream vacation to the Maldives. This is a $15,000 vacation, 3 days,
Jeez.
3 nights in an overwater bungalow, right? 15
Right.
grand. Fortunately, I use credit card points and stuff, so I didn't pay nowhere close to that. But she's going to sleep at 11 o'clock at night. I'm staying up to 2 in the morning on my laptop.
That's
working
crazy.
on spreadsheets and stuff like that. I go to Disney World. I just saw Haaj out there at Disney last month. My laptop's there. So once we got done with
Always
the fireworks,
working.
I'm back in the hotel.
Yep.
My son goes to sleep at 11 o'clock. I'm on here looking through my orders for the day, verifying deposits. Like it don't.
It never
end. So
stops.
it's just like you just damn. So you lose sleep.
Right.
You learn how to live with a lack of sleep. Sure. So it's like it's just you just got to figure it out. That's
Right.
the easiest way to say it.
I think with being a family man and being a dad and trying to build a business at the same time, you kind of learn how to like almost have 10 arms and juggle. Because there's times where it's like, I got to call Chase back, but I got my baby. So it's like, okay, I'm kind of counting down the time till they fall asleep. I could jump back on a phone call or I put my lady to sleep as well. And then I can run back into the shop. So I think trying to balance that is something that everybody needs to know about because there are the hurdles that you don't know going into it.
Yep.
So I think the biggest advice for me to young entrepreneurs is to get started as early as possible. You don't have to rush it, but if you can get started before you have the family, obviously we know that it's like a driver. It's going to motivate us. It's going to push you. It's going to keep you in the shop. It's going to make sure that you don't let your dreams fail. But at the same time, if you can get started prior to that, you would sleep here if you didn't have a family.
Yep.
You sleep right. I always say that me and Chase, like, we would sleep right upstairs at the shop, and we would go right back downstairs, start buffing, start painting. All right, go get some food, take a nap, go back upstairs.
Yeah.
So it's like when you have that family life, you really got to find that balance and keep that boat rolling.
It's the ultimate sacrifice. I hear all the time, man. I got a 5-year-old, an 8-year-old. My 14-year-old, he's been used to it. It's most of his life.
His whole
now.
life, right?
But it's like my younger ones. It's like even today, like I haven't been in New York in 6 weeks, and I tell her I got to go to New York today, and like she's ready to cry. Daddy, I don't want you to go. And I'm just like, I always have to explain that.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking.
To him, like, listen, like, if you, I don't want to throw it in her face, and I'm not trying to, so I break it down in more simpler terms. But I'm like, listen, if I don't work, we don't have this, we don't have that.
Right.
You can't go here, you can't do that. So like, I have to.
For sure.
But still, it's like, man, it broke my heart. The other day, she came over, and I was sitting on the couch at home. She brought her iPad over. She's like, Daddy, I just watched this video. I want you to hear it. And it's like a little, like a cartoon girl. It's like, oh, I miss my daddy. Like, when he's at work, I miss him. And when he comes home, he's too tired, and I just want to play with him, and he says later and stuff like that. And it's like, man, like, it really fucks with it. It fucks with you because it's like, man, your kid, like, you're doing this for your family.
Right.
Sure.
You're trying to create a better life for your family.
Right.
But from a child's perspective, they're looking at it like, wow, like, dad's not home. Dad's always working. When dad is home, like, he doesn't want to play because he's stressed out. He got to work. And it's
for
like,
sure.
It really puts things into perspective sometimes. And it's just like, man, like, you got 24 hours in a day, and it's still not enough.
100%. We always say that. We say there's not enough time in a day, and that kind of breaks my heart too, because Haaj, with boys, I feel like it's a little different. But Haaj has a daughter over there, and I hear kind of his stories, and it kind of even breaks my heart. I have 2 boys, but I don't have a daughter. But your daughter looking at you talking about, Daddy, you're never home. Like that might break my heart. I might have to run home. Even obviously, we're only 5. I'm only 5 minutes from the house, but you're traveling all the way up to New York.
Moving around.
It's harder for you to go and see your kids. You kind of got to schedule that.
Yep.
So
Bro, it's crazy because my daughter said to me, and like I told my my fiance, like, I gotta really do a better job at pouring into my kids, especially my daughter, because she's a little older than my son.
Yeah.
She's always asking me, Daddy, you going back to work? You going back to work? Why are you going back to work? And I'm like, Daddy gotta make money. Daddy gotta make money. And it started to break my heart because that's just like your initial reaction just to say, but it's not even the truth. And I want my daughter and all young kids to understand, like, I'm protecting my dream. We're at work every day fighting for something to give to you. It's more than money. So like, even just my biggest thing for entrepreneurs is when you get home, I try to like be home and just give them that time and really pour into my kids and make sure that I'm focused. Because as an entrepreneur, it's so easy to be here, but your mind's over here. You're thinking about this. You're running numbers. How can I make this fit? How can I make this work? So, yeah, man, big props to you, bro. You're doing
big
you're doing
props.
that thing.
Like seeing this store, it blows my mind. Like,
Bro, it's crazy.
You know, going outside Empire State Building, you know, it blows my mind. Like, you know, to see this.
Even, again, something else I said off camera earlier is like, this was the first one that really hit me. Mall of America didn't hit me. King of Prussia didn't hit me. To this date, those are the two biggest malls in America. Like, I was in both of them.
Right.
But it never hit me. Like, having the house, having the cars, having all these trips and stuff. Like, I'm grateful. I'm thankful for it. But it's just like, I don't know if it's the entrepreneur in me. It's like, I'm never content.
Yeah, you
like,
want
I'm
more.
Never happy. And like, it's a good quality and a bad quality to have. Like, it keeps me going. So that's a good thing. But the bad thing is, no matter how much I have, I always want more. And it's just like my wife tries to bring me back to reality sometimes. Like, look, like, you're doing good. Like, you don't, like, we're fine. Like, you don't have to keep, like, trying to, like, do more and more.
Yeah,
and
scale.
Like, again, I had a good upbringing. Like, I didn't struggle. Like, I had both my parents together and stuff like that. And like, I can't even sit here and like try to like downplay my parents and say, oh, like, I'm just doing this because I had a bad childhood. Like, I had a good childhood, but it's like I'm trying to create something like they always say, like, these athletes and everybody that goes once they make a pro, they're like, oh, I'm creating generational wealth.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really foresee, and I'm not saying this to slight myself, but I don't foresee myself creating a $1 million business. Now, we're already $1 million business, but when I say $1 million business, I'm talking about $1 million in my bank account.
Yeah.
I'm nowhere close to that.
Right.
But when I say I want to create generational wealth, like, I want to pass these businesses down
100%.
to the kids. Like, it's not like real estate where I can sit here and hand the kids this business and say, hey, this is yours now. And now, like, they got a $1 million like business. It's not, they got to run it.
Right.
Like, I don't own these buildings.
Right.
Like, I don't own none of my buildings, unfortunately. So, like, all I have is the business name, the inventory that's here, and then
But it's amazing though. Like, you know, your
But
reputation is amazing. You know, I hear nothing but good things. So, you know, I feel like you just keep rolling and you'll make it to the top.
Nah, for sure, bro. I appreciate the time, my guy. Really appreciate the store, the aesthetics. You guys are crushing it. Just keep doing your thing. We're gonna keep doing our thing.
Yeah, appreciate the time. You know, inviting us here. Like, this is legacy. Like, you know, looking outside and Empire State Building in the city of New York, you can't do nothing more that's better. So,
And the next store is what?
It's gonna be American Dream.
American Dream.
American
it's
Dream.
actually like 5 miles away from here.
Okay.
You can see the New York City skyline from it. It's East Rutherford, New Jersey, so it's literally right where the Giants and the Jets play. There's a tunnel that connects the stadium to the mall. So again,
insane.
that's the same owners as Mall of America. So that mall is going to be even bigger when it's actually completed. It's already the biggest indoor water park in America. I believe it's the only place in the entire world that has real snow inside. I don't know how they import the snow.
that's crazy.
But they got a ski lift and everything there, so you can go. You got people in the summer. I was just there like 3 weeks ago. You got people in the summer just walking into the mall with their skis and shit.
Right.
To go skiing in the mall.
Yeah,
so
that's
biggest water
crazy.
park. You got ski lift in there. There's too many golf courses. I think it's the second biggest indoor amusement park. They got 5 or 6 roller coasters there, a bunch of rides. And before you get to any of the destination stuff like that, you got to walk through the retail side. So we signed that contract, 18 months ago, or maybe 20 months ago, and it's still ongoing. But we're looking at like a March opening now. So
March open.
We'll get in there in March, right around income tax time.
That's awesome.
The American Dream. That's iconic.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I like that.
Legacy and
Ties in,
American
both
Dream.
names, yeah. It's just
that's wild.
Dream and legacy.
Yeah,
so.
yep.
Yeah, man.
That's
Congrats.
Appreciate you,
That's
man.
fire, man.
Yep. Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you.